A place where the sick go for help directly hit following an Iranian missile attack. Iran said it had been targeting Israeli military and intelligence sites near this hospital in Beersheba in southern Israel. This video from Israeli police showing some of the inside in the aftermath.
Reality is when you go into this hospital and you see how Jews and Muslims dwell peacefully together, do good together, being treated together and change the world together. And that's the future of this region. For that, you need sometimes to go to war in order to hit hard at the head of the snake, the head of the empire of evil, their heads, those who decided to launch, those who decided to run to a nuclear program to annihilate this place, those who decided to spread havoc and terror all over the world. No way, guys. We're here forever and we shall overcome.
It was over breakfast in Israel that Iranian missiles began to rain down, many intercepted by the country's air defence system. The streaks across the sky becoming all too familiar here in the last week. Numbers of casualties reported often change rapidly in these types of conflicts, but in Tel Aviv they said there are at least 25 following the attacks.
As you can see behind me, a missile struck one of the buildings. MDA crews that was on high alert has immediately rushed to the scene, arrived and starting to triage casualties. Up to now, around 25 casualties have been evacuated by MDA teams. All of them are in mild, likely condition.
Residents living to the east of central Tel Aviv can only look on, and sometimes it gets too much.
It was like an airplane going above us with a big echo and a big whistle, and then we heard the boom. The boom was like from 1 to 100, it was 100. It was like a tsunami above us. The door of the shelter opened. The dog ran away from the field. All my neighbors and the entrance of the building are full of glasses. Everything fell down. It's a damage. But the damage in the heart and the soul is much stronger.
In Iran, smoke rises in the capital as Israel continues its bombardment. This at the police headquarters. Hundreds of deaths have been reported in the country, although it's increasingly difficult to get information with internet services shut down. And Iranian state television says this is what Israel has now attacked. The Arak heavy water reactor 155 miles from Tehran, which it said it successfully evacuated. It helps cool nuclear reactors, but it also produces plutonium as a byproduct that could, in theory, be used in nuclear weapons. Iran had agreed under its 2015 nuclear deal to redesign the facility over proliferation concerns. But on the streets of Tehran, defiance last night. Many have fled their homes in the capital, seeking sanctuary away from intensified Israeli airstrikes. But Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei rejected US President Donald Trump's demands for unconditional surrender, a surrender unthinkable to this regime. It's been widely reported that Donald Trump has given his approval to what plans to assist Israel in targeting Iran would look like. What hasn't been made is a final decision, with White House watchers saying whatever that decision turns out to be, once he's made it, he'll stick to it.
I have a meeting in the war room in a little while, situation room as some people call it. So we're going to meet, we're going to see. We're in the midst of it's a terrible thing. I hate to see it. I hate to see all that death, so much death and destruction.
Of course, this has caused quite the rift among the Republicans and the MAGA base within which Donald Trump was elected. No more wars, Trump had said, more interested in gold than blood. But this one, like the others the US has entered into, could be easy to enter, but very difficult to exit.
If you don't know anything about the country...
In a bizarre exchange, those on the right who've backed Trump in the past now bickering among themselves when it comes to what should be done and who knows best.
You don't know anything about Iran, so
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government,
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country.
In the UK, reports that the Attorney General has warned Keir Starmer that Britain becoming involved in US attacks on Iran could be illegal, and cautioning against British engagement unless UK personnel are targeted. If the US does get on board, it's a difficult line for Keir Starmer to walk with Donald Trump and the amount of support the UK can or would give. These are difficult and dangerous times, but today it's people's homes and lives that have collapsed before their eyes after hits that seem to keep coming from both sides. Well, joining me now is Jeremy Bobb, the Jerusalem Post senior military correspondent and intelligence analyst. Thanks for coming on, Jeremy. Now, neither Iran nor Israel appear to be backing down as it stands. Donald Trump has reportedly approved plans to attack Iran, but has not made a final decision on whether to strike the country. How much is this a gamble by Netanyahu's government, given Donald Trump might decide not to join in at all?
Look, this was a big gamble. On the other hand, from Israel's perspective, for 25 years, Iran has been trying to develop a nuclear weapon. There was a nuclear deal in 2015. Iran complied with aspects of it, didn't comply with aspects of it, continues to build ballistic missiles, attacked Israel with ballistic missiles twice, 200 ballistic missiles in October 2024, 100 ballistic missiles in April 2024. So Israel sees these rising threats from the nuclear threat, from the ballistic missile threat, and it saw an opportunity and a timeline window that was shrinking to finally take out the nuclear program, take out large aspects of the ballistic missile program to remove, not permanently, but heavily reduce the threat that Iran poses to Israel.
We know that Donald Trump will be facing a lot of pressure at home over this decision. Do you think Donald Trump cares about that? Do you think Donald Trump is weighing up internationally here, given his focus is largely a domestic one?
Look, this is not where Donald Trump wanted to be. Donald Trump wanted to cut a deal with Iran. And if Iran had been willing to have a completely civilian nuclear program, give up uranium enrichment that could be used for dual purposes, either civilian or military, then I think there would have been a deal already a couple weeks ago. They hit a wall. And when Israel saw that, that's when it started to move towards acting. Will Trump actually jump in and act offensively? Nobody knows, because Trump almost never has actually used big military power. He talks really big, but usually he doesn't want to be in, endless wars. It was a big criticism he had of other Republican presidents like George Bush. So what is Trump going to decide to do? Will he attack Fordow, this big nuclear site underneath a mountain in Iran that is difficult for Israel to hit? I think only Donald Trump knows that, and I'm not even sure that he does.
In the aftermath of the recent strikes, Israeli Defense Minister blamed Iran's supreme leader and said this man should absolutely not continue to exist. Is that ultimately Benjamin Netanyahu's plan here? Will he not be stopped until the supreme leader is gone?
I would hesitate to say that Israel has an exact plan at this point. I think there was a clear plan to hit the Natanz nuclear facility, the Isfahan nuclear facility. Those are two of the three most important nuclear facilities. Again, the third one I mentioned, Fordow, is under a mountain. Israel's still trying to get the United States to hit that. But even if it doesn't hit Fordow, just hitting those two facilities put Iran's nuclear program back a lot. What's the plan beyond that? I don't think there was a clear plan, and that is a problem that Israel could see right now, is if Iran continues to shoot ballistic missiles and Israel doesn't know where and exactly when it wants this to end. So that is a problem. Does Israel want to really try to topple the Iranian regime? Where would that lead? You're talking about a country of 90 million people. Would it really be more friendly to Israel? These are all open questions. I don't think anybody knows the answer to them.
Donald Trump, for the US's part, said there were no plans to kill Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, at least not for now, he said. What would change his mind? And do you think that's factoring into his decision-making right now?
Look, I think that Trump has made a big jump over the last week. I think he was worried that if Israel attacked Iran, that U.S. military bases in the region would be attacked by Iran, because Iran threatened that that's exactly what it would do. Now, it hasn't done that. Maybe it hasn't done that because it was so surprised by Israel and it no longer has the capability to do it. Maybe it hasn't done it because the United States hasn't actively participated. So I think Trump is still weighing, could Iran still hit his military bases? If they could, he probably won't act. If he thinks he can get away with hitting Iran without the United States being hit back, then you might see him be more aggressive. And yeah, if at some point he and Netanyahu think that Khamenei is just someone who's not going to allow this to resolve, it is possible they could decide to take him out.
Is there a fundamental misunderstanding of Iran by the West, looking at the larger picture, that there's just no way this regime would ever be seen to capitulate, whatever the consequences?
I do think it was a mistake for Trump to be tweeting out they need to surrender. Surrender doesn't mean anything. There's always like a goal underneath that. What's the real Israeli goal here? Was for Iran to give up on a military nuclear program. So if they were to do that, they could do that without saying we surrender. I think it is humiliating in the Middle East, in any part of the world, but especially the Middle East, where honor is a very big deal, and people don't necessarily look at things all in terms of economics and rational actor theory. So yeah, I certainly would not have told the Iranians, oh, you need to surrender. I think that could make the negotiating process more difficult.
And finally, in the UK, the Attorney General here has warned that for the UK to assist the US by joining in on attacks on Iran could be illegal. What do you think Israel is saying to European countries about whether they could be pulled into this?
I don't think that Israel has any expectation that any country other than the United States will help in an offensive manner. That said, it is very possible that already there has been and will be defensive aid for Israel by England, by France, as there has been when Iran attacked Israel in April 2024 and October 2024 with ballistic missiles. On a defensive end, I think you could see England and other European powers helping out, but I don't see them helping out offensively.
Jeremy, Bob, thank you very much.
Thank you.